Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Abbie, Jordan, and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 27 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abbie, and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. We've got quite a bit to get into, so we'll get started. Logan, what did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
I was on the Instant Speed podcast. That was new and different. Unlike fun. Abbie, I did manage to say what podcast I'm involved with.
I don't believe it.
And yeah, it was a fun time talking with Flake and just kind of just it was more of just a chat cast than anything else. I'm definitely a C tier guest for him, considering he also talks with James White, which he'll be doing in a couple weeks, and other people who are actually good at this game versus me, who is reasonably acceptable. But then I did the two armories I normally do every week. 3-0'd the Tails draft because people let me draft Lexi and they really shouldn't. And so that got me another cold foil Kasai, so just random. Then 2-2 WTR draft because that format still vexes the shit out of me. Like, I just can never figure out what I'm doing for the life of me. But still won the random Red in the Ledger playmat or whatever.
Like the People's Champion mat or whatever.
Yeah, so just still walked away with something that was kind of cool. And that was about it. So that was my week. I mean, sure. Like, I think that it's been. I feel like we've been busier. Does that track with all y'all?
Oh
well, like
God.
in life, like outside of this game?
Well, no, just in general, like with even with the game, with everything that's been happening, even the slow weeks tend to come up with a lot of things that are content driven and very cool. But I still don't think that we're at a saturation point of content. I think I've talked about that, but yeah. So what do you think? I guess we're a little bit off topic because that's what we do.
Shocking.
But Jordan, I know that your consumption loop exists as a pretty routine thing.
Yeah.
When are you usually done with your consumption loop by?
So it's funny you say that because I was actually going to talk about that for my week. I fell behind in that cycle of like, typically I listen to Flake's show for like the community spice level. The role that people have told us we fill for them is what I listen to Flake's show a lot for, because he does their front runner where he kind of solo goes through the news. And then he does like the humans of Flesh and Blood bit that I like a lot. I didn't get a chance to listen to yours like we talked about off the show, just like his life has been crazy. Then Arsenal
also,
Pass.
why do you need to listen to me all the time? Yeah,
exactly. Like I know know what you're gonna say. You're gonna, right. But no, I really don't actually need to listen to it. I'm excited about it. It's a pretty cool thing. Flake's show is really cool. He said some really cool people on there. So for the fact that you're on there is really neat. And I was happy for you because like that's a cool thing for not only the show but like for you as a person. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was nice, but I honestly think he could have had any of us on there and still been a good show. So there's that.
It was just funny because he just released one like literally like 20 minutes ago with like Tarek Patel as a guest, and it was like, man, like you have Logan and Tarek Patel who are both excellent at very different things, and it's just funny to juxtapose those names together because like we don't have Tarek Patel money or
right. And there was the tweet that said we have this coming with Tarek Patel. In the meantime, go back and listen to this show with Logan Peterson. It's like this sentence doesn't make any sense, but thanks.
It's really funny. That makes me think of so my favorite sporting event of the year is the Memorial Golf Tournament. It's hosted in Columbus, Ohio. It is often described by many people to be the fifth major of golf, if they were to implement one. So last year, it just happened this weekend. We went a day. It was great. Last year, or 2 years ago, it must have been 2 years ago, we went Abbie's first time, and we followed Tiger Woods around. And when we sit at 18 and watch everybody come in, we watch Tiger's group come in, and they do like a quick resume of everybody that's approaching the green on Sunday. And it's really funny because they listed his pairings mates accomplishment with like one PGA Tour top 10, one victory, $30,000 of prize money or whatever it is. And then Tiger's resume was like, it took him 5 minutes to read Tiger's resume in the same deal. And it was just, people were laughing because like this guy he's had a good career as a professional golfer. He has a PGA Tour win. This guy is like one of the 1% golfers in the world next to the best golfer of all time.
0.01% of golfers.
Right. And that's how I was like,
0.01% of golfers.
I was like, man, Logan is an accomplished card player. He's an accomplished community member. The guy is like in the top 1% of what we do and is very good at it. And like, I'm lucky to like do a show with him. Oh, by the way, here's Tarek Patel. It kind of reminded me about that.
I don't consider myself to be in the top 1% of anything, but thank you for the kind words.
Sure. Well, I will say that most people don't try. And I think this is a big thing on Twitter right now is like Fab is very inclusive to the content creator space. So, and like, I think anybody that tries already puts themselves way up there. Trying regularly sells you to the top. So there's a lot of ground to be made just by showing up, I think,
So we're sweaty tryhards is what you're trying to say.
Right. Yeah. I think
we're sweaty tryhards at not being sweaty tryhards.
I don't even know what that means, but
neither do I. I'm just kind of talking words.
But it gets the people
but
going.
Is it evocative? I don't know. I got nothing.
Jesus. But yes, I feel busy in Flesh and Blood and in like life in general. Like I said, I fell behind in like the Fab content loop, and there's not even like anything going on in Flesh and Blood really. Like spoiler season now, but last week,
now
it wasn't. It was dead, last week.
Yeah, I fly out for Vegas in a couple of days, and so the next time I'll be recording this podcast will be from sunny Las Vegas. And
that's right. That's Saturday, right?
Yeah,
Friday, Saturday.
Yes, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's funny because I took it off of my calendar because I'm not going.
Right.
And it's kind of crazy how this just winds up because right now I have nothing Fab related on my calendar this week. 3 Uprising pre-releases next week, 2 days of Fab the week after. You have 3. Then after that, Rose the National starts, and we're off to the races again.
Yeah, for me, it was New Jersey. Take a breath, and in the meantime of taking a breath, we ended up doing 3 podcasts in a week. Jordan and I, when Abbie was down with the vid. And then I get pulled into another podcast. I got asked to do something else that I could unfortunately not do. Then our normal recording. And then directly after all that happens in a week, it's like, oh, by the way, I'm flying out to Vegas in like 2 days. And it's like, what the fuck happened?
Okay. Give me a minute, man.
So then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to fly back in. Everything will be fine. Then I look at my schedule again, but I have these pre-releases. Oh, shit. Okay, well, I guess that weekend's not free, but the next weekend's Columbus. Okay, but after that, I can surely 4th of July weekend. Right. Cool. After that weekend, nope, that's the first road to nationals that Des Moines ever going to get. So guess where I'm going to be? Holy shit, when does this stop? And I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is I'm actually happy about it. I used to lament doing some of this in Magic. Like those pre-release weekends, I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to touch it.
I didn't go to them the last 3 or 4 years of my Magic career.
Right. And now I enjoy them again. But with Flesh and Blood, like, I'm hyped for it. Like they figured out how to do spoiler season. They figured out how to not fatigue people on product releases and make things just kind of keep being cool and new and fun. And basically the fuck yeah of this community is never turned down below fuck yeah. It's always just at fuck yeah. So I'm obviously compensating for not having been able to say fuck on Flake's podcast.
Right.
But that is such a thing though with this community is everybody's just fucking clamoring and just want to just like, yeah, more mainline it in my veins right fucking now. Let's go. And it's like, okay, give them more. And I think we are like in the content creator space filling gaps a lot of the time when there is nothing going on from LSS. It's us, in our content creator space filling in those gaps until something does happen, and then we get to talk about what's happening.
Right.
But that contributes to the busy feeling, right? Because then it kind of feels like we have a responsibility to do that. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like it's a responsibility. I just like doing it.
Yeah, it's tough because, or I guess not tough, just a funny juxtaposition to how we were in December when there was like actually nothing going on and we were like sort of new to this still and we were figuring out what like Flesh and Pod was going to be. And, I don't want to be like the journalists that make themselves the story, but like, I guess we kind of are here and talking about what that looks like. And, it's important that like people get to do that like you have a guy that like Flake that does like really good human interest pieces, and you have us and that filling a very good news and notes segment at Arsenal Pass, always doing level ups, as is really good at community games and things like that. I'm forgetting a billion people, but that's the general gist, right? Is there always is something going on that you can be a part of, whether you're in the space and kind of like a known entity, or whether you're just like a guy on Twitter or a gal on Twitter. You can just tweet at somebody like, hey, I want to do this thing with you, and they'll let you. Like that's what's really crazy. There's projects to get involved in. Like you just have to show up.
Every time you ask somebody something, if there's room on their schedule in this community, there's like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do that.
Yeah, which is a juxtaposition to like other online communities we've been in the past. You know, Magic for sure. I'm really involved in like the fantasy football, like DFS space a lot. And there's people that are like, "Hey, if you pay me $1,000, I'll come on your podcast." It's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah,
$1,000, sure.
Yeah, you can go get hit by a bus. Like,
checks in the mail, buddy.
Yeah,
get on the
sure,
fucking
come
pod.
on in. Yeah, it's Buster guy hung up by USPS or something. Yeah, what the fuck? Get out of here. So. That's not the case in this game at all. And it's funny, when we started, I thought for sure that it was like people were just like buying into the hype and trying to really not like they were just artificially creating hype. But they're genuinely excited people about this game. Even when I'm at my lowest like of interest, like right now is probably we'll talk about this when we get into spoilers. I hate spoiler season in games. Which will be a fun thing to, it's unique. I think makes me a little unique for TCG spaces.
I think so.
But even right now at the lowest for me, I'm still like constantly involved in like, hey, what's going on? Like, is this game's really exciting? Like, let's look at a deck list. Like, let's think about decks that we can build going forward. What's the team doing? Stuff like that. So Fab really has hit a sweet spot for me, and I'm excited about it.
Good. Abby, what did you get up to? Because we're still in that segment somehow.
Yeah, I couldn't stop you because you were like on topic, but no, I didn't play any. And Jordan and I have this like once every 3 to 4 months where we just have like 5 weeks of back to back stuff going on.
Yeah,
and it is.
We're there.
Yeah,
we're in it.
Yes, we are in it. So, next weekend I have a work trip that I'm leaving for, and then the following weekend it's pre-release, and then.
So, are we not? Do we not have Abbie next week?
Oh, we might not have Abbie next week.
Oh dear, we'll be taking applications for a co-host that can keep Jordan and I in line.
That's right.
We are also going to have to record. This is bad radio. We're also going to have to record Monday because I have to take her to the airport during typical recording time on Sunday.
That's fine. I'm still in Vegas, and I will probably be real bad off. So it sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We can.
But no, we are in like one of those weird weeks, right, Abby? Like I'm looking at our calendar, and there's just like shit every day.
Every
day.
2 months. Yeah. Even after pre-releases, it's the Realms weekend, and
God, that's so much. Oh my God! Don't get me started on the Realm weekend.
Dude, here's what's crazy about our Realm weekend schedule. Friday, we're driving into Mansfield for like some day before stuff. Friday night, we're driving back to Columbus.
Yep.
Saturday, we're doing wedding stuff all day with friends. Sunday, driving back to Mansfield for stuff. It's just gonna be like an old school PTQ trip weekend, but like,
and here's the worst
for
part.
weddings.
So my parents sold their condo, and they move out on the 24th. So we don't even have like a
home
place
base in Mansfield anymore.
Like we don't have that anymore. So we just
because they're moving to Toledo. So we used to be like, hey, let's just camp in Mansfield for all the Realm stuff,
right?
And we've lost our home base in Mansfield.
Not anymore.
I'm waiting until I get out of Vegas, but I was probably just going to book an Airbnb and just cram as many people as I can into some house somewhere. So, you're always welcome.
Do they even have those in Mansfield?
They do. I found out. The one I was looking at was a house Galleon, but
yeah, you're all within 30 minutes of anything.
That's really all that matters. Yeah, I'm driving anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Bringing band MetaZoo players.
Oh, good. Yeah, he said that you were making him come, so that's good.
I was, yeah. That's very true. But that weekend's going to be unreal, so...
I'm excited. Right. I'm genuinely excited.
All right. Let's get into it. News this week, up number 1.
I feel like we were already into it.
Yeah, I feel like we were in sufficiently.
No.
I thought it was at least a 1 knuckler.
Here's the
maybe
thing.
Maybe not a 2 knuckler, but at least a 1 knuckler.
We were at We were at item number 1 of.
That's a knuckle.
And to be clear, it is the same amount of items every week. It's 6.
It is 6.
Sorry.
It's the same amount of items every week.
If we keep this pace, we'll be here through the next 3 days.
That's good. We'll get you right into your work trip.
That's right. Just got to do the work still. Anyways, okay, so Chane needed to win 3 pro quests last weekend, so today is the 6th, so last weekend.
Bye, Chane.
To Living Legend out, and rumor on the street is he did.
Bye, Chane.
We've had, 4 confirmed that won?
4 confirmed that I've seen personally, unless those people were just liar pants on fire, but I can't imagine they were.
Which is not very nice.
He needed 3 worldwide.
Worldwide. And that's not a lot.
So, say goodbye.
He's going to college. He's going to go be a real boy now. And I, for one, will not miss him at all.
I think just giving the next thing go again is inherently so strong and so unfun to play against. And I think it was a cool design space with Soul Shackles in particular and Blood Debt as a mechanic are really cool. Just the actual chain ability giving something go again is bananas.
I do appreciate how hard it is to play that deck at 100%. It's near impossible because of the variety of outcomes. Because you do have to account for random flips, right? But how good the deck was at 85% is, and still it can be a high rolly deck too. And sometimes it's just not as fun. The next one I look forward to being gone is Briar, because I'd like Rosetta Thorn to not exist.
Rosetta Thorn is a strong Flesh and Blood card.
It's real good.
Yeah.
So if Briar does go sometime soon, then we're just down to Viscerai in the Ruin Blade space. But we now are down to 1 Carrion Husk carrier in Flesh and Blood, which is just Levia, who won another Pro Quest this past weekend.
Ooh, was it No Blood Debt Levia?
Debtless Levia coming in again. I mean, the debt is the Carrion Husk, but it's basically No Blood Debt. But
I do imagine we'll see Prism before we see Briar, based on the points. It's 260 points separates them.
Yeah, but if Dromai pulls from the Prism pool enough, you may just see Briar first. But then again, Faye, how are we?
Faye? There was a pronunciation guide released. I just need to find it.
Oh, sure, that'd be great.
Oh,
if you
really?
could help me not look stupid, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, now to be fair, I don't know if I just made that up or not. Now that I said it.
Have you watched Shorzy? But
No.
you need to get on that one.
Wait, Shorzy? There's a show based on that character?
Yes.
What?
And it's very good.
Yes.
It's hilarious. Because Frankie JJ is back.
Wow. Okay, I need to watch this.
So, we'll snipe Sally, boys. The pronunciation guide to be nice, but it looks like, and I'm trying to segue, so help me. It looks like we're going to be looking at a lot of red line decks in general.
Yeah, it's weird. We had one of those before, I think, and maybe it didn't do so good.
I don't think it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I think it just won a few national titles and then kind of faded away.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah.
What are we even talking about?
Good. No. Inherently zero cost powerful cards just don't, they don't do much.
No, absolutely not. Why would you even play them?
No, you wouldn't.
Unless
you could play Stubby Hammerers.
That's right. I also have figured out why that card is going on.
Oh yeah, no, we fucking figured it out real fast. Yeah, that was quick. I was like, oh.
They're like, all right, well, we don't want people to combo die in one turn, so we'll just
That's right.
take care of this now.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
One turn is, then you can go get food.
Oh shit.
You've got plenty of time.
This is brilliant.
You can play in the food bracket. Yeah, that's
Food
totally
bracket's
true.
a great bracket.
I should
You
be
don't have to
tournament
go,
organizer.
you have to get con food. You can go get real food.
That's right.
Yeah,
That
perfect.
Is right. Okay, so we are officially in spoiler season, so we're gonna kind of hop over to that. We're getting cards every day,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna go through all of them because
It's a lot.
there's a lot. But we'll just kind of go, Logan, if you want to go first, like top 2 or 3 cards or something that like sticks out to you, even if it's not like a great card, but like artwork or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the artwork in here is just so good. I'm really pretty excited by a lot of different things. I think that the dragon aspect, that there's 1,000 of them, it feels like, makes it so that the Draw My deck feels very thematic. I do worry that it's too strong, but we'll see. I think people just need to figure out to attack the dragon and find ways to keep attacking the dragon. Lead the Charge is probably a very good card to start putting in decks or having available, just so you can keep attacking dragons.
Yeah.
As it becomes a problem. But I'm really all about the ninja cards right now. So I love the Phoenix Flames and the Phoenix Flame mechanic, just because I was an affinity player in Magic. And so that deck is, if you don't know the deck, it's full of 0 cost do nothings. So a 0/2 flyer for 0 does nothing.
Think of talismans or amulets from Flesh and Blood.
Don't nothing.
Yeah.
And yet can be the most threatening card in the deck at the same time. This is the same type of thing we're seeing here with these Phoenix Flames. You know, you end up with like, okay, I have 2 in the yard, or 1 in the yard, 2 in my hand, or 1 in my hand, and way to go get another one. Plus, you know, some other ways for it to function. The talisman of recompense, now it becomes kind of good because you just pitch your red and you get 3. So you can, okay. And then you can kind of start going off with a bunch of these 1 costs. And as you start doing that, you get to activate Phase ability to then go search up or return a Phoenix Flame. Sorry, I think it's return 1. Return a Phoenix Flame and kind of keep going. You have the Majestic that makes it so that all of your Draconic attacks get +1 until end of turn. You have cards, so like but the things that are really like glaring or like reaching out to me and saying, okay, now I'm in love, are Crown of Providence, which is the legendary. It used to be that you had to play Earth specifically to have a 5-card hand with Tunic. Now everybody gets a 5-card hand, by blocking. So a deck like Fae, like even like Dromai, Briar comes to mind too, although Briar would just keep playing Crown. But these are the decks that want to be able to block for 2 and then have a 5-card hand off their arsenal. And then just kind of go crazy with whatever they have. I think that these are interesting decks that can happen. Also a big fan of Tome of the Firebrand, which is a 1 cost. It's red because everything in this set is red. 1 cost, play Tome of Firebrand. It's a Draconic instant. Play Tome of Firebrand only if you control 4 or more Draconic Chain links. Draw 2 cards. So just
we're going wide, so just draw 2. And it's an instant. 2. It doesn't break your chain.
It doesn't break your chain at all.
It's an instant.
It's an instant. And the dragon that has me the most interested is Thamai, I think.
Mm-hmm.
3/4 dragon, so attack it for 4, it dies. Obviously has Phantasm because every dragon you make has Phantasm. The ash goes under it and makes it have Phantasm. But it's just straight up reads, opponents can't play cards or activate abilities during your turn. Kano, you can attempt to kill me now. If you can't, I have my turn.
I don't have to worry about keeping AB up. Yeah.
Right.
Oldhim, your defense reacts are useless.
Mm-hmm.
You now have to block. And just on and on and on. And a lot of really cool effects that surround that particular thing. It does cost 2 to play in a red line deck, so that is complicated, but we have talked about Talisman of Recompense and how that can be good. So I think that is my favorite dragon I've seen so far. Plus, like, all the dragon art is kind of just dope. The Necro Dragon, what the hell is that thing called? Scrolling a lot here.
Necro Dragon?
Necria.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Necria, whenever it deals or is dealt damage, put a -1 counter on her and create an ash token. Just damage me. I'm going to start shitting ash tokens all over you. Or I'm going to come in and cack you for 4 and start shitting ash tokens all over the place. That is quite strong. Like, that does a lot of work. There's a lot of fun. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just you were talking about dragon art, and Dracona Optimi is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want that. Yeah, I want that. I'm not big on Dominia, but like, I also like the serpentine snake thing going on. So like, you know, like I'm about all of these.
Yeah, but then like you see the really cool cards like Burn Away. So I'm convinced that Federico Musetti can't do any wrong. Like, seems like he crushes every card he ever touches. Full stop. And then Burn Away is literally just Dramai with a village burning in front of her. Just like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck
them kids, like,
yeah. Okay. And then it's such a good, it's a 0 for 2 that blocks for 3, mind you. That as an additional cost, you may banish a Phoenix Flame, and if you do, this thing gets +2 and go again. So it's just another 4 go again. In a lot of ways, just a card that does a bunch of shit. And then Stoke the Flames, I think, is the last one I want to talk about. Because one, it's called Stoke the Flames, and for anybody that knows me, that matters. Because it's Stoke the Flames. But
card's great.
Right. I think in this case, like, it's basically another deal 4 damage card. And these deal 4 damage cards are pretty incredible in general. Especially the ones that kind of get go again stapled to them.
Yeah.
Because 1 for 5 go again, or 1 for 4 go again, or 0 for 4 go again. Especially when you start having ways to recur, like the Phoenix Flames and stuff, and just start making them make everything kind of go. You're going to have these giant burst turns. And I think that's an interesting way to set things up. It makes people really think about their turns and think about their hands and what they can do with them. And it's going to reward tight gameplay surrounding them, I think. You can't just kind of spew your hand. You have to sequence this. This isn't just like, oh, I have stuff, you're dead. No, this is, you have to play it in a certain order in a right way to maximize your damage. Like, this isn't as easy as, throw stuff on the board and hope it kills you. You have to plan this out. This takes planning and plotting. So I'm kind of here for it. I think that this is a very cool mechanic, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think that, like, the difficulty level of Flesh and Blood will certainly go up with Uprising.
I agree.
I think Classic Constructed is already like a hard format to navigate. Its difficulty just went up a couple of levels. A, because you're adding permanence, and then B, like, there are a lot of deck building considerations. It's a lot harder to just copy and paste the deck list. Like, you'll always be able to do that to some level of efficiency, but hand sculpting is going to become simultaneously more important and somehow less important at the same time, because again, you're not going to see a second cycle of your deck with all of these red decks running around.
Probably not.
Like, so to that end, that's a bit of a shame, because that is a part of the game that people have come to like a lot with, like, Bravo. That is like the one cool thing about Bravo Star of the show is your second cycle can really matter. Right. And that's like a fun thing to manage for some people. Not really for me. I don't particularly enjoy that part, but like, that is a thing about, if you like about Flesh and Blood is there. And then this does become a little less good because you're not going to have time to see that 61st card again.
Right. I do want to point out something really weird. And that's that we have seen exactly one non-red pitch, non-ice card. One. That isn't equipment.
What?
Like, the only one we've seen that isn't red, that doesn't pitch for 1, that isn't an ice card, is Fangs a Lot, which is also quite good.
Huh.
It's cost 4 for an attack 6. If Fangs a Lot is put into your banish zone from your graveyard, instead put it into your hand. So Levia can banish this and just draw it.
Huh.
Blue that blocks for 3.
Blue's the block, and it's a generic, and like,
it's a generic that's a blue that blocks for 3. Cost 4, hits for 6.
You know what really makes me mad is I wish FaBTCG updated their card galleries. I'm like going through the Discord, and I'm like, man, it'd be a lot better if I could just control F on this.
Yeah, I'm speeding through a lot of things here just to find what I'm looking for. So I know how it feels.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
But I remember that card specifically and going, wait a second. Everything else has been a red line. Neat.
Yeah, no, I mean, so you've hit a lot of the cards that I'm pretty interested in. I think at this point we've seen a lot of the sexy ones, and there's kind of just like a baseline of like what's sexy. It's pretty cool that we got to see what Ash does.
Yeah.
That's been new since we've came out. For what it's worth, it just gives an object phantasm.
But it also converts the ash into a thing.
Right. It is a mechanic, and turning ash will become an ally with ash underneath it. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited for the... Yeah.
That seems like a U card.
Take the tempo?
Yeah.
Take the... Nope, not on the fucking
FaBTCG.
Oh, yeah, just read it for me.
It's a 1. It's a ninja card. Generic ninja.
Okay, so no, I think I've seen this. Go ahead. Good.
Yeah, it's a 1 cost red for attacks for 5, blocks for 3. Above the block for 3.
Yep.
When Take the Tempo hits, if you've hit 3 or more times this combat chain, banish the top card of your deck. If it's an attack action card, you may play it until the end of your next turn. Your next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a design space that they changed at Everfest.
Yep.
Because before Everfest, it was the end of this turn. Katsu specifically says end of this turn. A lot of ninja cards up until that point said end of this turn. And they've really stuck with this into your next turn thing, which I like.
Yeah, I think that it's just a way to increase value. So here, you draw the card, and you if it's an attack reaction or whatever that you can't use, or a defense reaction, or sorry, those don't work. If it's an attack that you just can't pay for this turn, no, don't sweat it. We got another turn.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
that was actually one on my list.
Oh shit!
Damn it.
Abbie typically hates ninja.
Don't worry, you've taken literally everything else I wrote down. But that was the one.
That's the hill you're going to die on is take the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible card though.
Right.
It is a good card. You know what ninja card sucks is Searing Emberblade. I don't see this card in the red line version. You're just going to play Kodachis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Sadly, Kodachis do not.
They don't help with most of these cards.
Do we know if we have a legendary weapon in this set?
We have 6 legendaries total. So
holy shit!
And we've only seen 1.
Right.
God, if they make one-handed legendary ninja swords,
ew!
I don't love that.
Unless they come 2 to a pack, like they're print in such a way that, like, if one is in there's no way.
It would have to be a 2-handed that does the same thing as a Kodachi and lets you attack multiple times and lets you attack with it again. For something. If you banish a red card,
what's the card they just spoiled that when it hits you can banish it and play it from your banish zone and it loses that ability? They just spoiled
I saw
maybe it's
that.
a similar
lava veins or
I'm in my own
Spreading Flames?
No. Spreading Flame. Nope.
Nope.
No.
Good radio, everybody. Good radio. Double Strike.
Yep.
Double Strike is a 0 cost red for attacks for 1.
A majestic.
Double Strike, majestic. When Double Strikes Chane, it is a generic ninja. Not generic ninja, but it is a ninja with
action, not Draconic.
Talentless ninja, yeah. When Double Strike Chain Link resolves, banish it. You may play it this combat chain. If you do, it loses this ability. So maybe they make something similar into that vein where if this Kodachi hits, you can attack with it again. And because of the way that weapon layers work, they don't close the chain when you do that now. So
right, okay.
So that
we might just end up having we have good enough stuff that Katsu, we are on the make Katsu great again train, and it ends up being very good with some of the new cards in it that are just ninja specific. But who's to say?
One last point from my end on these anyway. God bless you, James White and LSS, for not making the new Marvels have separate set numbers. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Because now I don't feel obligated to buy these motherfuckers. If they had different numbers, oh god,
I'm gonna have trouble regardless. But
they're gonna be they're so pretty.
They're so pretty.
I mean, like Necria. Oh my god, that dark.
Yeah,
Stranger Things esque.
Mm-hmm.
We're through season 5 or through episode 4, by the way. So,
oh my gosh,
so you're not through episode 7?
No,
we are not finished with part 1. No.
Okay. Yeah, you're in for a fucking treat.
Yeah, I'm excited. But no, so Necria, the Marvel gives me Stranger Things vibes anyway.
It does. Yeah, it's the upside down.
Yeah, but beautiful on these. So, but I'm glad I am not compelled to buy them by virtue of wanting to fill all the spots.
I'd better have I'm probably going to force myself to find a way to have a cold foil Crown of Providence, though. Like, that thing has to be so sick in cold foil.
The
so much metal on the card.
Brendan had one in their video.
Oh,
They sent Brendan a cold foil and Hayden a rainbow foil, and because they wanted to preview both.
the worst. No,
they actually get into a little game about how it happened. So,
all right, well.
yeah, it's worth checking out anyway.
But
yeah,
right.
no, I think I'm excited.
Final thoughts? Any additional cards you want to chat about?
Only because I think this is a unique thing about me that I mentioned at the top, and I wanted to bring it up. I hate spoiler season. It's the fucking worst. And I know that so many people are excited, and I don't want to rain on your day. So if you're like, man, goddamn it, I don't want anybody to ruin spoiler season for me, hit that plus 15-second button on your podcast device. I get so frustrated only because TCGs are inherently predatory business model, and like the idea of cracking like virtually lottery packs.
One moment. Business models are inherently predatory business models. Go on.
Sure. Oh yeah, capitalism is also a scam for sure. If you want to go to the base, but of business models, TCGs are definitely like peak predatory business models.
Okay.
They're virtually like a booster box is 24 lottery tickets that we sell to children. But like. I get frustrated because people talk about decks and deck building and like overall organisms before we have a complete picture. And I know we do that because like time, like A, there's only a limited amount of time until your next event, and B, we're excited and like it's kind of been boring since Everfest or since whatever the last set is. But I have become a curmudgeon in my life about pre-releases and spoiler season, and I was like that in Magic basically the whole time, and it might be because of my completionist brain. Like I look over at my sets and they're all done, and like they're not going to all be done here in a couple of weeks, and like god damn it, so maybe that's it. But I wanted to share that because I mentioned that to somebody randomly one time, and they're like, oh my god, thank you, I've never felt that way. Like other people feel that way, so you're not alone, but also don't ruin other people's time. So if you didn't skip this, it's on you.
That's right. Don't yuck someone's yum.
It's a good one. Unless their yum is weird.
No, their yum can be weird. It just can't be sour cream.
As long as it's not illegal.
Oh, yeah. Legality.
Yeah. Right. Like I don't mean like don't be out here yum shaming anybody. But
no,
if their yum would send them to jail, we can
but like
yuck at that.
Their yum
like what?
Weed, and that could send you to jail, but it's not bad. It's a plant. I'm saying.
So is poison ivy.
I know that's not the same.
I'll go smoke it, and I guess we'll find out.
You've checked a lot of boxes with that example, so it's kind of pseudo whataboutism. We've done a little bit of a straw man argument. You've
presented an argument that I did not make. Like,
just like, okay, good job by you. You're right. Poison ivy's a plant. Fuck you. Great.
And if the sky was made of cotton candy, we'd all be happy,
I would be very happy.
We'd all be dead.
I love cotton candy.
All right, how about this? If your yum hurts someone else, it can be yucked.
Unless the person wants your yum to hurt them.
No, because I'm going off of hurt in the context of like an unconsensual harm.
It's non-consensual harm. God, we are so fucking off.
Yeah,
Abbie, where are you?
If they're yum,
I just made a valid point, and then you guys went down a rabbit hole.
You don't also find their yum yummy, and it hurts you. You can yuck it.
Okay. Anyway, good to know.
I mean, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's move on.
Are you yucking my yum?
Is everybody very excited? Is everybody by everybody, I mean the three of us. Are you guys excited for our next topic? We haven't done this in a while.
It's Reddit thread. How the fuck am I ever going to be excited about Reddit?
We have a Reddit thread of the week, folks.
You can okay for me, but fuck.
This one's a good one.
I should read this. Hold on.
This one's a good one. I can give you the gist. I can give you the quick hitter. Abbie can. It's not.
Do you want the quick hit or do you want the full post?
I want you do the quick hit. What makes you feel good?
Okay.
Yeah, do your yum, I guess.
I'm not so the TLDR is the poster is worried about introducing more allies into Flesh and Blood, and that it will lose the uniqueness that is Flesh and Blood. Right? We don't have a lot of these currently. So it's not a permanent based game, right? We have
Okay.
what, like 2?
I mean, there's more than that. There's a bunch of potions and
auras
amulets
and
Okay.
you get
I
attacked
meant
with,
like ally cards. Okay.
yeah,
there
things
two
that are
allies until now. There's
Yes.
Blasphemafet and Urser.
Yeah. And so their big thing is that Fab isn't that, and now by adding more permanents, the game feels anti-Fabby.
Anti-Fab.
less fabby, less
Jordan
flat.
put that, so I had to use it. I thought it was good.
I don't know. Just because I write it in the show notes for On
Jordan?
Burgundy does not mean that I have to.
Jordan,
What?
why do you miss it every time? It's a 2-beer show. I'm sorry, folks.
Oh,
Thank
the
you.
I
two
don't
shows,
know
sorry.
why he can't.
I don't
Hear it.
either.
It's my favorite
sorry.
thing too. No, I found this and I was pretty excited about it because it's pretty interesting. That like
It is.
Tarek Patel, as we've talked about before, has said this, that Fab is a game of lightning bolts and healing salves. And if you don't know that Magic reference, it's basically just like cards that deal damage and cards that soak up damage. And there's not, and when you play your lightning bolts or your healing salves is really the crux of the game.
Surrounding the base mathematical number 3.
Yes, right.
Yep.
Right.
The concept of 3. Yep.
Yeah. When can you deal 3s and when can you soak 3s?
Yep.
And how you deal those 3s and how you soak those 3s is the skill dividing factor.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a game of, as the poster said, it's not a TCG fighter. I don't line up my bad guys against your bad guys and we see who can finagle our bad guys the best.
Hold
we
on.
really,
Can we run?
well, they wouldn't all be bad. They wouldn't be, we wouldn't finagle our bad guys. It'd be like who can finagle their guys the best.
I have some weird equation with the finagling of bad guys right now, but you go right ahead. It sounds like roughing the suspect, but you feel free.
Oh my God.
I don't
I'm
understand.
going to yuck your yum. I don't know what you're saying.
You
but
don't
I'm
yuck
gonna-
my yum, but
I'm going to
there are
yuck
many,
yum because
there
I
are
don't
many
understand it.
euphemisms, and you seemed like you're using a euphemism. That's
I'm
all
an American. I yuck yums that I don't understand. So
that would make
I'm
you an
gonna,
American.
I'm going to yuck that yum because I don't get it.
100% would.
No, but I like the design space of trying to make the game a little bit more complicated, but I also, can appreciate the perspective of like this game isn't permanent based. This isn't line up my guys against your guys and have them fight. This is a from your hand type of game. I kind of appreciate that. We're in this weird space with Flesh and Blood where the design is relatively simple, but that's good. And I don't think there's anything wrong with simple. It's an incredibly deep and complex game despite its simple mechanics. And we don't need to lean into complexity for complexity's sake. So I get the gripe of the poster.
I do agree largely with the lightning bolts and healing salves comparison. It's quite brilliant, honestly, because it is a game that revolves around the breakpoint of 3. That's just true. However, this game is one level deeper, is a game of opportunity costs, right? Doing your thing may leave you susceptible to your opponent doing their thing. And that always has to be in the back of your head. Like I was testing Blitz against a buddy of mine, and I was playing the Oldham side, that just 9,000 defense reacts. I don't care about you or your life, you or what you're doing to me, Oldham. And my instinct was to try to find a pivot turn, right? Like crush my opponent. And as I'm doing that, I'm staring at a hand that is an Okanold turn. That's like the holy grail, right? You want to Okanold them.
Right.
But it wasn't right to. The right thing was to just not let him get a bunch of counters on his Dawnblade or whatever it was, and not let him draw cards, and to just block with all these cards and just don't care about it. It's those types of opportunity costs. Like the opportunity cost of me playing this Okanold is that I'm going to let my opponent start doing a lot of things that if I let this ball start rolling, and it's going to be too late, most likely, for me to fix it. And so the decision has to be at that point, what's the opportunity cost of wanting to Okano my opponent? And on his end, it's like, okay, I'm committing to this turn a ton of resources. What's the opportunity cost of what I can get out of these resources? Is it worth me committing all these resources just to get their hand for a turn? Or is it better to just take some cards and then wait? So the way this game presents itself in that regard makes it so that you have these permanents, but these permanents have opportunity costs. You have these 6 power, 4 power, 2 power, 3 power dragons that you can only have one of in a deck, right? I think they're all legendary.
Are they legendary?
I think so. I'm ready to be wrong because I'm usually ready.
Some of them, there are limited restrictions on some of them. I don't know about there being. Could just be. I could have no clue. Yeah, they are legendary. So Invoke Dracona Optimize legendary.
But like Invoke Thamai doesn't look to be legendary. So you could theoretically play 3 of them.
Invoke Tolmatai is legendary. Invoke Dominia is legendary. Is it depend on rarity maybe?
Yeah, I think the rare cycles aren't legendary. But either way,
Gotcha.
like let's take Invoke Thamai as an example. Step 1, you need to have an Ash token. Okay. That's a low opportunity cost because Dramai's ability just makes them, right? After you pitch
by virtue of generating resources, yeah.
But you have to have something to generate the resources to do before playing the card. Like, so this is another thing that makes me very interested in Uprising, is because it's actually a set that's going to force people to play their cards correctly, because you announce the card first in all targets and then pay for it. So you can't invoke Thamai, pitch 2 reds, make an ash, and then transform one of those ashes. That's not how this works.
Right. That is going to be a learning curve for, I think, a lot of players.
Right. So you have to have something to do first to make that ash token. When you make that ash token, like, the next opportunity cost is however much the card to make the dragon costs. And the invocations do all have go again, and then again, Dramai's ability lets you attack with dragons with go again, right? I probably should have pulled Dramai up, honestly, but do you have that just on tap, Jordan?
Dramai?
Easier, yeah. The actual hero.
Yeah, Dramai Ash Artist or whatever.
Yeah,
whenever you pitch a red card, create an Ash token. If you have played a red card this turn, dragons you control have go again while attacking.
There you go. And then you need the weapon that lets them attack. So the opportunity cost to have them attack is not much. But some of these dragons have a very real cost. Like Vincerakai is 3 cost to make a 6/1 that whenever it hits a hero, he deals 3 arcane. So it's 9 potentially. But it only has 1 health. So if you have a way to damage it at instant speed, takes care of it. These all have Phantasm too. So make Command and Conquer great again, I guess. But so these all can be popped as well. So there's a lot of just opportunity cost to be committing, especially in a red dialing deck, 3 resources to make a dragon. It's not free by any stretch of the imagination. So is that going to be better than somebody else that's just braining you? And you have to hold these cards in your hand until you can actually do it. It's not like you're getting anywhere by just blocking all the time. You have to advance your game plan somehow, and in order to do that, you're gonna take it to the face a couple of times. So there's real opportunity cost in making these permanents, whereas in Magic, you tap your mana, you put your thing on the field. And that's what you're expected to do in most cases. Obviously, there are decks that play at a counterplay level, which is totally different. But in this case, referring to permanents exactly, I think that the opportunity cost here is really the thing that makes this unique. And so I think it maintains its uniqueness. And by maintaining that uniqueness, we're not straying very far away from the Fab model, the things that make Fab great, that make it a healing salve versus lightning bolt format. I think it still is. This is 3 resources for 9 damage. What does that equate to? 1 for 3, right? Okay.
3 is the magic number.
3 is the magic number.
No more, no less.
Yep. I think we're still there.
All right.
There we go.
I don't disagree that I think it will maintain the uniqueness for what it's worth, to give you feedback. Because you said that, and I was like, yes. And that was like a weird silence to your your good point. But I do hope that we stay away from permanence as like a rule.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely something that they're exploring in specifically the illusionist space, right?
The Memory Phantasm is helpful.
Yeah,
Right.
and illusionists also have auras, tons of them. And spectral shield tokens, which are also auras. They're token auras that they can attack with.
So it's already in a class that already operates on the axis of permanence.
Already
Sure.
is the thing. Yep.
Sure. And I don't know if I inherently even agree with, like, if I had to be pressed to flesh this out, I don't know if I could, but that I don't know if I don't like that illusionist operates on a permanent based system, only because of like how Spectra interacts with token or with attacks specifically.
Yeah. It's
it operates on an axis that I find uncomfortable more than I do like exciting.
Sure.
But I get what you're saying, that it's a design space worth at least looking at. I'm not as worried as the OP on Reddit was, but I do think it was an interesting that I don't think that person's crazy for thinking. I like Flesh and Blood because it's bolts versus salves, and not so much because it's my guys against your guys.
Yeah, I guess I'd probably lose my mind if they ever made actual counterspell type stuff happen on a regular basis in Flesh and Blood. That would probably drive me batshit crazy.
Oh yeah, it'd be so unfun.
This game is not about that.
Yeah,
So.
like one of the highlights that you say to people about Fab is there are no non-games.
Right.
You can always play your spells. Like your spell will always resolve, whether it will be as effective as you want it to be. That's the game, but it will always resolve.
Unless Aetherize is played by the wizard player.
Yeah. That's the narrow exception, I suppose. Yeah,
it's super narrow. It's
not
good.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 listener questions this week. So we'll get started. First one is from Late Mommy Enthusiast, and it's if you could pitch/teach Fab to anyone, historical, famous, whatever, living or dead, who would it be and why?
So James White and I originally tried to teach Moses, and that guy could not read English, so it was really complicated. We had to translate the whole game.
We're going to presume reading English here.
Well, so we had to translate the whole game to Hebrew, and that was difficult.
Ancient Hebrew,
no less. Yeah, like James was like, "Dude, like Welcome to Wraith is just not ready for this." And I was like, "James, we have to J-dubs, J-baby,
Bravo's a mensch,
J-baby."
Yeah, J-baby. That's what we called him. That's what we called him in the BC times.
That's a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, before Jesus rolled around, he was James Baby. So
does that make Jesus James Baby 2 or J Baby 2?
Listen, we don't want to get into the J Baby 1, J Baby 2. They didn't like that. They kind of had a tiff about it. Yeah, it was.
I didn't know. It
was a whole thing. Yeah, listen, we could talk off the air. J Baby X does not like to, I don't want to say the number he got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like and J Baby N, I guess, is maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, okay. Let's
honest answer.
Alrighty.
Honest answer is probably like Obama. Like I don't know. I really find like Obama like a very smart character. Very like he's a competitive guy from like his basketball days and all that kind of stuff. So I would like to I always thought it'd be really funny if like a president came to a calling.
Sure.
And like the implications of that, of like Secret Service, how that works. Your opponent's across the table. Does he, like imagine he has to like touch your cards, like do you have to go through, what is that? Does the Secret Service touch the cards for you?
Gotta make sure there's no anthrax on them. Yeah.
Well, right. But then like, do I have to get a judge to make sure that the Secret Service guy isn't cheating for the president? And like, because
what is cheating for the president? Are you going to fucking stop the president from cheating?
I don't know. I might not vote for him next time if he's cheating. I don't know. It depends.
They're all cheating.
Yeah.
This is really easy.
Yikes.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yikes. No, that's a good point. So, but no, I probably like a president, preferably one I liked. So that's my serious answer.
Sure. Abbie?
Logan? Nope.
Oh shit.
I got shaded on. Okay. Shaded, not shitted. But
or both.
That's a yum I won't yuck.
I mean, that's not a yum I won't. Yeah, that's a yuck for me, honestly.
It's a yuck for me too. But if it's your yum it up.
Yum it up.
Don't tell me about it. But yum it up.
So I kind of like picked a living and dead. Sadly,
okay.
I thought that was a question. So you got living first or dead first?
Go with dead first, because that way I can start thinking of a dead to match you.
Sun Tzu.
Okay.
I want Art of War. I want somebody who builds these strategies in their brain and understands the people piloting the strategies better than the people understand themselves and how they could crush. Basically, I want people better than me at all points in time. And I think Sun Tzu would just massacre me as soon as he understood how the game worked, and I would just be on me to get better.
Do you think that like old military tacticians, whether it be as ancient as Sun Tzu or like even modern ones, are good at games? Like
very good ones, absolutely.
You think like Rumsfelds and those types would be like excellent at board games and things like that? Like modern military generals are, they're trained in the classics.
They're trained to a degree in the classics. They're not the classics. I would definitely feel like Alexander of Macedonia or, Sun Tzu, already mentioned him, Genghis Khan. I mean, these guys were the people that are the top, the top echelon are different. They're just built different.
So they'd be like good at like a game, like a game like Fab.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep, they'd figure out how to use the system to play to their opponent, and I think that would be a very interesting thing to see how they could turn it. And Sun Tzu specifically, because of his focus on opponent versus raw strategy, know thy enemy, know thyself type of things, I think would be specifically very good at this type of game.
Do you think that is true? I think that might be true for a game like Magic or I guess like Yu-Gi-Oh. Do you think in a game like Fab, like where we just got done talking about, there's a little less interaction on the like specifically modern Fab? It matters very little sometimes what your opponent's doing, and it very much matters what deck you brought to the tournament.
I think when
do you think
yes, because I think when the margins narrow, the brilliance gap exceeds the margin.
Okay, respectable.
Yeah, my living.
Answer. Yeah, hit me with the living.
Magnus Carlsen, without a doubt.
Oh wow!
Oh,
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
It's just mowing people over. Like you just look at this game, shrug his shoulders, and be like, "What's the highest elo?" Okay, well that's what I'm going for.
That's a good one. That's an incredible one.
I mean, he's about, what is he? He's gunning for 2,900. Yeah, he's gunning for 2,900 to be the first player in chess history with 2,900.
I want to say 3K is his ultimate goal. Am I crazy?
3K is the ultimate goal because he's got to 2,882.
Yeah, and then he only got 4 points in a tournament he XO'd.
Correct.
He XO forward or something, and like only gained 4 points, and it's just like, all right, man. Like,
yeah, like what? Like, he's actually looking, unless one specific player comes out of challengers, that he's just gonna, or candidates, I guess they're called. He's gonna drop the strap for world champion because he just isn't interested.
Yeah. He basically said, if anybody does a fall chess, this guy's fascinating. He's like, I'll only defend the world title against one guy. Everyone else is literally not worth my time.
Take the most brilliant human being at a rapid strategical outset that you can think of, and then also make them a GQ model. And you have Magnus
it's
Carlsen.
absurd how good looking he is.
It's not okay.
Fair.
It's actually just not okay.
And he's actually like a sociable person, because you have a lot of people that are like good looking and good at something that are like weirdos. Like the triangle, you can't have all three, right? Magnus has all three.
Yep, he is the reason I am fat, because somewhere, somehow, at some point in time, the universe of balance would have become unbalanced if Magnus Carlsen existed like that and I was slender. So he is the reason that I can never be fit.
It's funny. No, that's a
it's
great answer. It's not the beer, not the excess, not the calories in over calories out. It's Magnus Carlsen. Yeah,
the universe is not in balance because of Magnus Carlsen.
What a good answer for the live one, because he's, I mean, adjusted for a generation, probably still even the best just of all time.
He's the best of all time. I think that's largely non-debatable now.
So like Bobby Fischer's up there.
Sure.
Like
Where'd he go?
He had where'd he go? There's you ever see the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, Logan?
Yeah.
So whenever we talk, because Abbie and I talk about chess quite frequently, and whenever we mentioned Bobby Fischer, literally she just goes, "Where'd he go? Did somebody find him yet?" Yeah, we found him. He's unfortunately still the same sad man he was.
The same sad man. Somewhat anti-Semitic, and
not even somewhat, friend. I
was trying to be helpful to you in your Bobby Fischer worship, but you can.
No. I am very good at separating art from artist when like artist is
probably a good idea here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bobby Fischer's not a good person. He died in exile from the U.S. government, actually. So
that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. I just want to point that out.
Fair enough distinction. Abbie, give me your two.
So I have only living ones, but I have one and then a group of people. So My first one
Okay.
would be Taylor Swift. The game would literally never die if Taylor Swift was involved.
Okay.
Her fans are literally insane. I also would just like to meet Taylor Swift. So that's one.
I mean, that's a thing.
That'd be sweet to meet.
And then my other one is either Matt Groening or Trey Parker and Matt Stone, because I would love to see Flesh and Blood in a show that I like. So The Simpsons, if like Futurama, South Park, like one of those, I would love that. You know, like,
like a World of Warcraft from South Park type of deal.
South Park did Magic, so
yes,
yeah.
I would honestly be so hyped to see Matt Groening do fucking Flesh and Blood. Like,
I would go insane.
Yeah, the guy has a nose for it. I would also kind of like, on the same token, I guess I would love to see Mike Judge do it.
Sure.
I think that he'd be very interesting, but yeah, Matt Groening is a certified genius, and just absolutely 100%. I'm on board. I would have such a blast just watching and laughing.
Also,
go ahead. Sorry.
Super side note, but I know that you love The Simpsons. Remind me when we're done. I have a poster that's autographed by all the people that do the main voices, and it had all the characters through like 2000. So
like Julie Kavner and Dan Castellaneta, and
yes,
she has some original scripts as well that are signed.
Smith.
Yeah, I have a bunch of dope shit.
Yeah,
we had
her dad was quite the collector.
One of our family friends worked on it.
That's incredible.
So we would get random stuff.
I need all of that. I just need to see it. Like that is Grail type stuff for me. Especially from like the late 90s and early 2000s era.
Yep.
Like, God, that show was so good for such a run, and it's still going, you know, but and it's still like I watched every season, and I keep watching every season when it comes live on streaming just so I can binge a season. And it's not as much as it used to be, but still every season I still have 3 to 5 just laugh out loud moments.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gag that just gets me.
Yep.
So Hank Azaria, Dan Castellaneta, Julie Kavner, and Yardley Smith, and God, there's just so many great voice actors on that show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
so
absolutely
good.
bonkers.
Jordan, who's your last one? Did you already do it?
Oh, my dead person.
Yeah.
Or
live, because it was.
Oh, so no, I was just kind of equating that it would be.
Sure.
Bobby is like maybe a goat if adjusted for time, but because he's like pre like computers and chess. No, it would probably be. I know I went like president first. Maybe like philosopher, like like a Plato. Only because like angle of thought in this game is very like the way players think about this game is very like A to Z. And I would like to see somebody take a different angle. I actually don't know if that would be good or not, but
I think that you could go to some of like the late period philosophers. Yeah, basically, I think you either have to go like fairly late or super early, like Heraclitus, or all the way to like Immanuel Kant.
Kant would be interesting.
The in between is this kind of muddy for the style of thought in a lot of ways. But like Heraclitus is so broad, and then Immanuel Kant just spun all of he did, and maybe even Hume would also kind of fit in there a little bit.
So like Kantian stuff is very a typical card player,
yes. Mm-hmm.
like very like just like chip theory.
Yeah, and then you had Hume accusing Kant of being in a dogmatic slumber. So Hume wrote the Critique and Critical Thinking, which is kind of the magnum opus of dilated thinking and understanding macros into micros, and then following through lines in logic through logical, and dodging logical fallacies. So that'd be very interesting to have like a Hume versus a Heraclitus type match. I think that would be super just crazy to watch, because the one would take hours. Like you could not have a time limit on that match. It'd just be a draw. As they talk themselves in and out of everything they're about to do. That's just, if you've ever read their books, that's just what they're doing. But the conclusions to each thing they're doing would be quite fascinating.
I think I found my answer. It is Dietrich Bonhoeffer is who I'd like to teach. He is my favorite people that used to know this about me, I used to study theology. He's my favorite theologian, and his ability to like work with like conflicting pieces of information is very, very interesting to me. So he's a pacifist that tried to kill Hitler.
Yep.
So like I like the dichotomy and being able to hold two things in your mind at once. So, and I think that would be useful in a game like Fab. So there's my answer.
I think Friedrich Nietzsche would be a camp never block, because God is dead and life is futile. So just fucking smash face.
Just get him. Yeah, Nietzsche's pretty good. I actually one of my favorite papers he wrote. But anyway, this isn't a theology pod today.
I mean,
nope. Maybe tomorrow.
We have not actually discussed much for theologians so far. We've all just been philosophers, unless you consider nihilism to be a theology.
I do to some degree. I consider Bonhoeffer like a philosopher, especially like Karl Barth was like an adversary.
Yeah.
So I consider those guys philosophers in their own like sphere of the world.
Sure.
Like 1940s theology plays a large role in like American life today.
It does.
Sure.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yep. All right. Question number 2 is from Keith, and it's what if?
That was question 1.
Yeah,
we spent a lot of time on that.
I know.
Yeah, we gotta move it on.
Question number 2, Keith. What if LSS added a third balancing mechanisms to the BNS list called the BLS list? They would be a general legendary, where a card gains the legendary mechanic and then it forces it to be a single copy. So, for example, Sonata Arcanic Jesus would be limited to 1 copy in your deck.
You know what I'm going to say to this already.
What are you going to say?
It's not on the card.
No, yeah.
Fucking Haterada.
Yep.
Yep.
If it adds words to the card that change the inherent structure of the card, and that includes how many you can include in a deck, come out.
This is a very good digital solution.
It's a great digital solution.
So like a digital card game. I love shit like this in digital games. But
digital solutions to analog problems.
Yeah. Like we've used that on here before, right? Like I don't like. I can't pick this up and know what it does. I also don't like unverifiable things. I don't like legendaries in general. My opponent plays one. I don't know that that's actually the only one they put in their deck. Like,
right.
They could have another one in their hand and they're just going to like bottom it later and like, Arsenal put it away and I'll never see it, so I don't like that, like, is it in a physical game in general anyway. But like, I do think this is a good solution to like a digital problem or like in general, like a good game design solution, just inelegant for physical games.
This is the same as a restricted list, right? Except it confuses the player base more because it's putting a word on a card that's not on the card. If you want to create a restricted list where you can only have 1 copy of restricted cards, I'll listen. I won't like it, but I'll listen. Because that list is like easily accessible, yada yada yada. But if somebody's like, "Oh, I read Sonata Arcanix, and I opened a pack, and I opened Sonata Arcanix, and it doesn't have legendary specialization. I can put 3 in my deck," and they don't check anywhere. They put 3 in their deck, and then it's a problem, even though it's supposed to say so on the card. But I guess that's the same problem with restricted lists. So that's why I hate them.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Question number 3 is from Teague. Are we up to date on this?
Is this current?
Yes. We are. Okay. Discord questions are clear as of like whenever I made the show notes today. So,
all right.
There you go. All right. A prominent Flesh and Blood content creator made a statement about the rock, paper, scissors type hero meta. The opinion was essentially that he felt a game where almost every hero had something like a 60-40 chance was undesirable, and he found it less interesting. My thought was always that it was just not feasible, as the nature of a TCG is simply too hard to balance to that degree. So to my mind, that style of meta was desirable, but not achievable. I was surprised and intrigued to hear the viewpoint. If you were to decide between a meta where, say, 5 to 6 heroes are on top while the rest are well below that power level, or where nearly all heroes had a shot with various combination of 60-40 matches, which would you pick and why?
Go ahead, Jordan. I know I have a little bit of thought on this, but I'm curious.
It's an interesting. I'd really kind of curious to know who said it.
Would you call it a sticky wicket?
No, he wouldn't.
Oh, see,
why would you do that?
You fucked up. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it at all. But now, Mike, you've made me go into the sticky wicket. Look what you fucking done, bud.
You're fired.
Three possum show.
Are both fired.
So no, it's a bit of a quandary there, bub.
I said sticky wicket, motherfucker. I did not give you quandary permission.
He did. So I think the 5 to, if you could make because of how difficult achieving a 60-40 is, if you could make a 5 to 6, so I don't know. What does it mean when, and I know that Teague isn't the one like framing the question this way, that this is the way that, like, I say this knowing this faith and spirit of the question. When someone says, a 5 to 6 hero meta on top and the rest are all below that, what does it mean for 5 to 6 heroes to be on top? What type of matchups do they have with each other? 60-40 probably, right? So like my viewpoint is probably that best case scenario, Fantasy Skyland, where this is actually achievable. Every hero that gets branded has a 60-40 against some other decks. Maybe that percentage is even wider to like 80-20. Like it's okay that you're just like a dog in a game, because I don't necessarily think that if I sit down and play like a game, I don't want every single one to have to be really hard, even if it's a losing side. Now granted, I say that and know full well that the next time I got matched into a 2080, I'd bitch about being such a dog. So like, who knows? But I think in a picture-perfect world, I would take 60-40s all over the place. Only because when someone says, I want 5 to 6 heroes to be really good and then rotate those out, what does that mean with those 5 to 6 heroes? And we had that. We just got done doing
we just got done with it.
There was a couple of heroes. There was 3 or 4 that were really, really good. And they all had different levels of matchups with each other. And it was basically 60-40. Mm-hmm. With the one exception of being like Prism and Starvo was much more favored. So like, 60-40 for me, only because I don't know what the alternative looks like within itself.
Yeah. You touched on something that I was going to use as an illustration point. Because you probably did this in Magic as well. You would sit there and you stare at your deck and you'd stare at your worst matchup, like a matchup that just felt unfucking winnable at all points in time. And you'd be like 80-20. And you look at like, okay, well, how can I sideboard for this? And it's like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. I can use these 4 or 5 cards to my advantage to raise my matchup to 65-35. So our new strategy is dodge those matchups and get these 4 cards back to shore up matchups we can actually fucking win. That's a lot of this when you talk about like your 5 to 6 hero metas, where it allows for bubble up from the heroes that are beneath it that can have good matchups against 2 or 3 of the 5 or 6 and hope to dodge the other ones. A good example of this is Lexi into the Briar, the Briar pool. Lexi was not a 60-40 deck against the rest of the world. It was a 75-25 deck into Briar. But if you got Oldham, you got Oldham'd. Like that was it. And I'm talking about common pilots. So I think I'm more interested in the 5 to 6 heroes are on top and the rest are well below that power level, because some of them that are well below may be able to approach some of those top decks still to cause a little bit of variation. And then there's the rotation aspect you talked about. Like those decks will rotate. Like there will be another day. Azalea eventually will have a living. Nope. No. Yeah. No, just can't.
So
I knew Girl Levia would eventually get there, but no.
In that world where this 5 to 6 scenario enables and allows for bubble up, I think I actually agree with you. I took it just on face value of like there are 5 to 6 decks that are playable, the rest are just like distinctly not playable. I wasn't accounting for bubble up because I guess I just took the question exactly as it is, but I hear what you're saying. I think I agree with that scenario.
I don't think conceptually that's possible.
Well, I don't think it's conceptually possible that every hero has a 60-40 against another hero either. But
I think you can actually make that game. I don't think
so.
Or fun.
Yeah, I don't know if that game. I don't even know if like that game could be made unless it was just like 2 heroes and one was 60-40.
or right. I mean, basically to have measurable, I have 2 good matchups and 2 bad matchups, and that's it. And the bad matchups are 40s and the good matchups are 60s. I think that's possible in a very narrow game, but we don't. Who wants to play that narrow game?
I think that's part of Teague's point too. Is that like he even says I found 60-40 very good, just not possible.
Right.
And so that's where I took the question to be, if it were possible, I think I would want that. If every hero in a game as diverse as Fab could be 60-40. Because like I said, 5 to 6 heroes are on top and the rest are well below with bubble is very much what we've had in Fab before.
Right. And I think that's good.
Well, yeah, sure. I'm not disagreeing. I think of the now 3 scenarios, that is the preferable one.
Yeah. Okay.
But like as the 2 as they are presented, that I only say that to clarify for like.
Sorry, Teague, I butchered your question.
No, I only say that to like clarify for like my own point.
Yeah, but I butchered Teague's question.
Yeah, and Teague, he fucked your question up. I put it in there on time for once.
Poor
and
Teague.
we'll see what he does.
I thought I was improving it.
There's the spirit of the question, and he just like throws it away. He's
I
everybody.
am sorry to tar and feather your question, Teague.
Who's that baseball podcaster that I don't like?
Which one?
Ben
Lindbergh?
Ben Lindbergh. You Ben Lindbergh this question. He does that on their questions.
He does.
Yeah. He's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I understand your question was, what if Mike Trout played with Babe Ruth? But what if Babe Ruth had access to superpowers? And it's like, what? Shut up, Ben.
You can say something like, what if Babe Ruth had access to modern training technology? That does make sense. But
he wouldn't have used it.
No, he would have ate fucking hot dogs.
If we don't adjust his personality for modern values, he would have not used it.
He would have been better John Kruk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hall of Fine.
No, better John Kruk is Hall of Fame. John Kruk is Hall of Fine.
Is John Kruk in Hall of Fame? No, he's not, right?
No, he's not.
I don't know who that person is, so I'm going to move this along. Our last question is from
This is
2
important,
people.
Abbie. There's a great quote from John Kruk where he was drinking and and eating something shitty in a bar, and a person walked up to him and said, "Excuse me, aren't you an athlete?" And he said, "No, I'm not an athlete. I'm a ball player." So that's John Kruk.
He's from West Virginia as well, famously.
Also from West Virginia.
Famously to people that have family from West Virginia. Not
That's
famously.
West Virginia. All right.
Question
number
Mama.
4. All right.
Me home.
Okay, we have got to move on. This is yikes. Okay.
You John Denver'd us. That's on you.
I'm not the one who started talking about West Virginia.
But you're the one that fucking John Denver'd us.
Okay, so this is a question from Teeter Dance and Teague. So this is
I kind of just like hybrided the discussion that they were having about this question.
I'm still mad about this.
So you have to give up one. Do you give up bread, beer, or all TCGs?
All TCGs.
1,000%. What
Yeah,
are we even talking about?
2 things. 1, beer is bread.
Correct.
2, yeah, you snap fucking give up all TCGs. Are you kidding? You still get to play board games.
Let's make it a level harder. All TCGs and one of the other 2 that are on there. Alcohol.
Which one
bread.
do you keep?
Yeah, you have to keep one. Alcohol, bread, or all TCGs.
Beer is bread. You just keep bread.
Well, wait, we have it's okay. All right, Ben Lindbergh. Take my fucking question in the spirit of it. You can't ever consume alcohol again. You can't ever eat.
Whoa! This says beer.
No, I know. I'm expanding the question. I'm manipulating it to yell at you for not manipulating it.
Mine is still bread.
For me too. If I have to give up alcohol, bread, or TCGs, I probably keep bread.
I can't eat naan.
I know. I know. Naan's a bread, homie. I know Abbie can't.
I probably keep bread.
No,
I probably just keep bread.
Can I tell them that story, Abbie?
I'm gonna be super fucking sad, but I'm gonna.
No, I'll tell them that story. So Jordan. Okay, so Jordan made us do keto once upon a time. And I told him before we started that I did not want to do it. So that day I went to work.
We lived together for maybe 3 months at this point.
I ate literally all day. All I did was eat this gross food that we made or whatever. And I was so hungry all day. I came home. I couldn't take a nap because my stomach was growling because I was so hungry. And he came home.
Dumb fucking soup thing.
No, it was just like a typical keto. Like you have like ground beef and like peppers for lunch, and like you have like eggs and like bacon for breakfast, and like you have almonds throughout the day. Logan, you're fine. Like, it's a fine thing to do.
No, it's not. It's
there's
awful.
no bread.
Anyway,
There's
so
no carbs at all.
hold on.
Yeah.
Most important point of the story. Jordan comes home that day and I'm crying. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm so hungry that I can't sleep. I'm not doing this anymore. And then we went to dinner and I ate like 4 rolls.
It didn't last 12 hours, Logan. It didn't last 12 hours.
It was awful.
That is commitment to bread.
I mean, I get home from like school or work, whatever time period it was, and there's this woman I've recently moved in with crying on the living room floor for bread. It was just like, what the hell? So we walked to the restaurant. We ate some bread. But I was like, it was at that moment that I knew any type of like diet thing that I needed to do, I was on my own.
It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I keep bread of bread, alcohol, and TCGs.
Yeah, I'm keeping bread. I can still play board games, and if it's beer specifically, then I can at least drink scotch.
What if it's not? Does that change your answer?
If it's just all alcohol, full stop, period.
You go to like keto and just like...
No, I probably still keep bread.
So I do think that like cutting out all alcohol, period, is like a very difficult like thing to do. Plus, like bread is such a staple that it's an unfair question for me to pose.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of like something like steaks, alcohol, or TCGs. That's a more fun one.
What did you say?
Cut out steaks.
I thought you said snakes, and I was like,
No,
what are we even talking about?
Steak as in like...
just cut out steaks.
Yeah.
That's fine. I can still have a burger. I can still have a pork chop.
I mean, if you said all meat, then there's like that's a harder question.
We have a bigger question, yeah.
There's other substances.
Do you understand that bacon is good?
Yeah. Jordan doesn't like bacon.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I don't like bacon. I know. I'm a sausage guy. I think bacon is
okay. Well, that happened.
Hey,
I'm not going to yuck your yum.
I wish you had told me that pre-marriage.
That probably would have been good for you.
I'm moving this along. So our giveaway, we pulled our runner-up, not I guess backup winner. I said runner-up, but that's not correct.
Backup winner's fine.
For the Realm seat in the 5K, and that is on Twitter at Judge Dredge, aka Nate.
Yeah, it's Nate.
So congratulations, Nate. If you did not win and you are planning on going, please go to therealmgamingnetwork.com and register, because there are only
300-ish
300 something. Yeah, 300 and X. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is June 25th and 26th for that brawl.
And I will be there all the days. Abbie and Jordan will only be there on Sunday. And if you're going to join the Friday Armory, which will be Uprising Limited. So it'll be fun.
Question about Uprising that I don't know the answer to. So for Magic, at pre-releases, you can buy sealed product. Is that true for Fab?
At pre-releases, no.
Okay. They haven't made that change. That was the best change they ever made for Magic. But
it's on the list.
Yeah. It's weird that like I get to play with these things, but I don't get to buy it anymore. But like, whatever. Like it
is what it is.
It's a week. Yeah. I'm only bitching because I have to drive to Mansfield down to get my product.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is.
No big deal. All right. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FlushPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. If you feel so inclined, you can shoot us an email at flushandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbieD83. I'm pretty sure I tweeted twice this weekend, which is probably a record. That's about
I don't know
it.
record. I got nothing for record.
That's
for non-video people, for podcast people. Logan and I are like miming along, Abbie
being absurd
doing
as fuck.
the thing. Yeah.
Listen, I have that memorized.
You're doing great.
Good
that's
for
why
you.
we have you. Yeah.
It's like when you like I was a bartender, and then people ask you for like what you have on draft, and I would give the same list every time. So that way,
And then they order a Bud Light after you go.
Yeah, then you would go like 20 beers deep, and then they'd be, "Can I get a Bud Light?" No, you have to pick something else.
You have to pick something different because you maybe list all these.
It's got to be from the bottom 5 beers I just named. Yeah.
Also, I just want you both to know that I had a Bud Heavy this weekend.
The Diesel.
I went to a graduation party, and I was like, that is what I would like to have.
That makes it even funnier because I made fun of someone with Bud Heavy in their grocery cart at the grocery store yesterday, and I didn't know that Abbie was Bud Heavy in it up.
I cannot drink Bud Light. I think it's
Drinking the
absolutely
diesel.
disgusting.
Hey, sometimes tap water is good for you.
I can do like Miller Lite, Coors Light on a really tough day. I
High
cannot
Life's the
do
champagne
Bud
of
Light.
beers.
Yeah, I
But
do
you
like
went
High
for
Life.
petrol. You went for literal petrol.
I did.
No, that's Corona. Corona is petrol.
Corona's
But
delicious.
the diesel is a different form of gasoline.
But here's the thing: it was free. So,
and if it's
more
Bud
important.
Ice,
oh,
it's
Did you get a free
biodiesel.
Marlboro Red when you got your Budweiser Heavy too? Were they just giving those out on the side?
You have your option of Reds, Camel Originals, or Lucky Strike.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then if you're trying to quit, they'll give you the skull, the wintergreen skull.
oof.
ugh,
God. Ugh.
Ooh, a chaw.
gross. All right, Logan.
Where can they
You
find you?
can
on Twitter?
find me at Logan Peterson. I am not going to be joining in the Chaw Talk. But that is spelled Petersen. I tweet about mostly Flesh and Blood anymore. Every now and again I get pissed off because of the gun problem in the United States. I have a lot of discussion points on that as somebody who was raised around guns. So if you ever want to talk to me about it, be civil and expect me to do the same. And if you are not, I will annihilate you because it's what I do. Otherwise, you can just find me in the Discord. I'm very easy to talk to. I reply as much as I can. I am more approachable than you think. So please join and come hang out and be utterly nonsensical with us. It's a lot of fun. Jordan?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at I'm Jerman. I am JORMAN. Same deal, tweeting about the nonsense hellscape that is America. We'll do anything to protect the kids except ban the guns that kill them. So, that's what you get on my Twitter. So come on over, adult. Now you know. Our Discord, if you like this beer bread nonsense talk, that's what goes on there, man. Yeah, it's a cool time in the sports world for me. So I'm kind of jumping into this F1 thing and learning it. So in addition to American politics nonsense, you can find me talking about F1 or baseball or whatever.
That is correct. Jordan and I are Ferrari fans.
Oh, okay.
Our
You
Ferrari
picked a horse.
fans.
Okay.
You picked a
Yep.
horse. Yeah, so Abbie has a bit of a thing. Abbie, you want to tell them about your fan, your like randomly out of the blue fan thing that you do?
Yeah, so this I recently stumbled in my second one, and now Ferrari is kind of the third. So for football, my favorite team is the Green Bay Packers. They won.
Because you're a person. You're a great
Correct.
human.
They
Yeah.
won the first and second Super Bowl. The Rajasthan Royals won the first championship in the IPL. So now that's like my thing. The team that won the first championship in Formula One is not there anymore. So Ferrari is the first one of the teams that's still active. So that was why I went with them. They are red though, which I don't love because red's not my color. But we have to make sacrifices. So
The Formula is a Ricky
Formula
Bobby reference. Yeah. Hello, I'm for Formula God, it kills me every time. It's not
very
Formula
funny
One at our house. It's Formula
yeah.
Un, deux, trois.
But no, we are Scuderia Ferrari fans in this house.
Hey, you do you. Have you ever driven a Ferrari?
No.
It is a hell of an experience.
I want to pretty bad. It's pretty funny because I'm watching Drive to Survive on Netflix right now, which is like the behind the scenes Netflix documentary of F1 and F1. And they'll follow a guy into like the grocery store, like a driver, and they'll come out and they'll be like, "Oh, your car is going to be the one that's hard to find." And it's like a very high end Mercedes, one of like the $2 million Mercedes that only like 3 people in the world have, and it's like just parked next to like a van for a family. It's
You can
funny.
in Vegas. You can 100% pay a not small but not large sum of money to go drive those cars on an open track.
See, Columbus has a track here, and I think they have like a rental thing for like nice sports cars. I'm going to do
Fun
it.
as hell. Yep.
I need to learn how to drive a stick shift first.
Not hard.
So I hear it's not. I tried to learn as like a new driver, and I don't think that was like a good thing to do in the city.
I learned stick shift on a Renault Fuego.
Okay. Renault? That's
A Renault.
yeah.
That was a Formula
One
One.
team?
That's
It
right.
is a Formula One team. That's the car I learned on. Is a Renault Fuego.
Oh, wow.
with a racing clutch in it. So you had to stomp on that motherfucker and try to put it through the floorboard in order for the clutch to engage. So
that's a way to learn to drive.
It's a racing clutch. Yeah. So it was not a soft. The first time I ever drove a soft clutch, I'm like barely had to tap it. I'm like, what the shit is this? Like I'm used to like trying to massacre a clutch in order for that fucker to go in so I can shift.
I only learned how to drive. I drove to like a super. I think it was a supercharged F350 had a clutch in it, and like that was like I could drive that one. It was really weird. I didn't know how to drive a stick shift. And my uncle that like took me in it was like, this one will basically be like not driving with the stick shift. It's fine.
It will babysit you. Yep.
Yeah, that truck was huge.
A racing clutch, not so much.
I can't imagine.
Nope.
All right.
I got nothing else, Abbie. It's all you now.
There you have it, folks. That is all we have this week. I have no idea what's going to happen next week, so you will have to turn in and find out. So we will talk to you then. Bye.
Hey everybody, Jordan here. Just wanted to check in and let you know that I was thinking about you this week. I hope you're well. The world is a scary and dark place sometimes, and it's not fun. And if you're alone and you don't feel like it's thinking about you, I want you to know that I was thinking about you. And gonna be okay, and sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Gonna do it together. I don't know how. I don't know how to look yet. But just remember that even though time is a cruel mistress, we will do this well if we do. Have a good one.